We have some football now, and England's Euro 2020 qualifying match against Bulgaria in Sofia was overshadowed by racism from home fans. As a result, the referee stopped play twice in the first half, with warnings made over the stadium's sound system. England won that match 6-0. The incident has again raised the issue of how to deal with racism in football. For more on this, I'm joined now by Ed McCambridge from DW Sports. Ed, good to see you. This match, very disturbing what happened there. How close was it to the match actually being called off?
Well, very close indeed. UEFA actually announced going into this game that it would be implementing its three-point protocol for dealing with racist behaviour, a sort of 3 strikes and you're out system across the course of the game. Now, the first strike actually came in early in the first half when a number of England players complained about racist behaviour in the stands, namely monkey chants and Nazi salutes. So the stadium officials actually put out an announcement asking fans to cease this very concerning behaviour. They didn't, which led to the second strike just before half-time when the England set-up were actually asked if they'd like to go back down the tunnel into the dressing room, cool down, wait for the stadium to cool down. They said no, they'd rather finish the half. They'd rather carry on with the game, not let that put them off their stride. Had they complained again in the second half, it would have been strike 3. The game would have been abandoned. Now, they didn't want to do that. They wanted to rise above the racism. They wanted to finish the match, which they won 6-0. And Gareth Southgate, the England coach, actually said after the game that he's very, very proud of the way his players conducted themselves. So let's have a listen to what he had to say about that now.
Naturally, because of they want to be recognised for their football, they were playing so well that they didn't want to leave the pitch at that moment as well. I'm sure that would have been part of their thinking. So I'm incredibly proud of all of the players and all of the staff. I don't think, of course, we could be criticised for not going far enough, but I think we've made a huge statement and frankly, we were in an impossible situation to get it right to the satisfaction of everybody.
I think it was really a fantastic decision for the players to stay on the field there. What about Bulgaria? What possible consequences do they face now?
Well, I think it's worth mentioning that actually for this game, Bulgaria had 5,000 seats reduced inside their stadium capacity because of previous racist behaviour against the Czech Republic and Kosovo earlier in Euro 2020 qualifying. Now, DW has actually spoken to UEFA this morning to ask if they'll be taking any action. They said they're going to wait for the official referee's report before they decide if they're going to do that. But as I just mentioned, that 5,000 seat reduced capacity, that clearly didn't have the desired effect. The racist chants continued. And I think people really want to see some actual action taken by UEFA to stop this happening in future. No €20,000 fines and a one-match stadium ban. They want to see real action. They want to see a prolonged stadium ban, or if they don't get their act together, they want to see UEFA actually take Bulgaria out of international competition.
Something that might have an effect.
Exactly. And I think it's really worrying. I mean, we saw some comments from the Bulgaria coach at the final whistle. We're going to hear those now. And it just goes to show that it's going to be a long time, I think, before Bulgaria can get their act together.
Of course, this is an extremely important topic, not only for Bulgaria, but for England and for all nations. I am for strong punishment if such a thing exists, but it also has to be proved. If it is not proved, then it is just speculation.
I mean, that's quite a statement, considering we actually have video of what happened and sound recordings as well. The Bulgaria coach there also saying that this isn't limited to his country. Is that right?
Well, of course he is right, but the timing's absolutely awful. As you say, there's actual video evidence. I mean, I don't accept for one moment that a man who's paid to analyse games for a living can't see around what's happening in the stadium. So that's nonsense. But he is, of course, right. And Gareth Southgate, the England coach, actually said after the game as well, England players are hardened to this sort of behaviour, so it didn't put us off our stride. It does still happen in English stadiums. Of course it's not.
What teams are most affected, or where is this really a plague?
Well, we've seen a couple of issues with Chelsea in the last year. The England centre-forward, Tammy Abraham, was actually abused by a portion of his own fans anonymously on social media, which is a massive issue these days. Raheem Sterling, who plays for Manchester City, was racially abused last season, both England players. So it really is still rife. There may be fewer Nazi salutes inside English grounds, but there are still monkey chants, and there are certainly still anonymous abuse on social media.
Ed McCambridge from DW Sports. Ed, thanks so much for all the insights.